Blackstone Audio presents The Last Cavalier, being the adventures of Count Sainte-Hermine in the Age of Napoleon, by Alexandre Dumas. A note from the editor. Trumpeting the words, "An unpublished work by Dumas has just been found," is not the same thing as firing a cannon. The great Alexandre, the most profligate spendthrift of his time, both with his creative energy and his money, had too many earthly needs to satisfy not to furnish at the slightest opportunity whatever text publishers might ask for, because they knew he was so willing. He wrote travel sketches, literary reflections, lectures, humorous essays on all sorts of topics, and recipes. Such pieces, often insignificant and printed in the columns of 100 newspapers, were not always gathered together in book form, far from it. But we're still finding some of them even today, and many of them have not yet been located. But to proclaim the words, "One of Dumas' great unpublished novels has just been discovered, and we had no idea that it even existed," that is not simply lighting the powder to fire a cannon. It risks triggering a literary earthquake. A few years ago, had those words been whispered to anyone who loved Dumas and knew anything about his work, that person would have smiled and said, "That is impossible," and he would not have failed to support his opinion by asserting that even if we have not found the original versions of all the novels and tales that the writer first published in serial form in the contemporary press, surely all of his important narratives have been published in book form, thus escaping oblivion. Dumas needed money too badly not to take such precautions, for publishing his serialized novels as books allowed him to ensure that his work would last for centuries, and also guaranteed that he would quickly double or triple his profits. The contracts he signed as a serial writer remind us that he was perfectly capable of demanding that he be allowed to publish his narratives in book form as quickly as possible. So we can imagine Claude Chop's astonishment and wonder when the universally respected scholar and premier specialist of Dumas' life and works discovered almost by chance, but is there really such a thing as chance, a completely unknown Dumas text a few years ago. After he read the text and studied its background, he realized that it was the last of Dumas' great novels. "I imagine myself as fortunate as if I had discovered El Dorado," Chop writes today. We can easily believe that. For the novel in question, even though it was unfinished, and though unfinished it is still a symphony of more than 1,000 pages, does not stand simply as our Alexandre's last conquest. It quickly proves to be the missing piece of the gigantic novelistic puzzle.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?